Hi guys, my name is Rudo, and as you know, I'm a full-time stay-at-home crypto trader and investor. And today we're going to be talking about our hodl bags. So the bigger time frame that we need to consider is, or the time frame we need to consider for Bitcoin and the altcoins is the weekly and the daily time frame. And the question we need to pose ourselves is this a real opportunity or is this a trap? And how can or should, and how could this potential opportunity benefit us and how to guard against it if it's a trap. Okay, so let's just quickly have a look at what was predicted a while ago. Now, remember, predictions is like a-holes, everybody's got one. So, you need to take these things with a pinch of salt. That's why I try and predict level by level, saying, okay, right, we broke through this. Let's try and go a little bit higher and so forth. And the fact that Bitcoin is currently sitting around 99.98 is in line with the idea with the prediction. Go make a higher high, come back, test the previous area of support. It's as simple as that. So from a larger term point of view, the tile says hurry and things are all red and bearish. But bigger picture wise, as soon as we zoom out of the daily and go into the weekly, this is just a simple test of previous pivot resistance. So it is expected. Okay, so the fact that we created a pivot, and we can argue that that was the initial pivot from the daily time frame, from the weekly pivot, we're still so far away. We need to. It is still too soon to even say that it's time to reverse. Okay, so I don't want to create but now the catch point, remember, there's no financial advice here, guys, but I don't want to create a false sense of complacency amongst you guys as well. Typical tops, they form like this. It's just okay, don't worry. Everybody's saying that. And typical around that time, even and what I tend to then do is just to kind of want to point out to you guys that at some stage you need to have a line drawn and guard against what if this is all that it is. Okay, so that and a lot more. So drop your comments. Let me know what you're holding, if you're underwater, what you panicked about. Ask questions. I'm going to dedicate some time at the end of the stream to literally go through all the comments, see what you guys are on about, where you guys are at, and so forth. And while I'm flying solo, just as a quick friendly reminder, today's video is brought to you by ByBit. You can support the content, open your ByBit account, come trade with me. Links to everything is in the video description. Okay, there we go. Okay, so Bitcoin weekly time frame. Now, the bigger picture, let's quickly zoom out, take this approach. I just want to show you guys this. Okay, so when we were down in this area here, we had a lot of buys and sells and opportunities to capitalize on the largest swing for Bitcoin. And I want to show you the repetitiveness and how the market always looks different, but it kind of is the same thing. So what did you have? You had the market kind of stalling, losing momentum, coming off a big bender, a lot of momentum, and then shaking everybody out, sweeping the manipulation, as I could say, and then continue onwards. The same with these. So you guys can verify the OGs whether these were given in advance or whether I'm bullshitting anybody to the, especially for the new guys. So here's the comments, go wild. Okay. And from that point onwards, the market started moving quite aggressively. So did that a couple of times and then started moving a little bit stronger. Now, typically, this is my biggest fail for last year. I wanted to buy when we went back to 46 at 31. And the market never gave us that. And this brings me to this original question that I posed in the chart in the beginning, once we left this range. Will the new one be an option A, where the market's not going to give us that buy, or will it be an option B, where the market consolidates for a long period of time and actually fills the gap? And at this moment where we are, it's still more looking like an option A, meaning I'm not planning for the market to go to 75 and saying, stay out of the market, don't worry, because there's too much, underlining bullishness or momentum there, to be so reckless with my own funds. So I'm still going to treat this as it is moving forward, nothing but a little chink in the chain. And I'm going to prove this by the fact that I'm going to show you charts where these buy zones were already marked out, expecting the fact that it's going to push back down. Okay, so and I think that is the biggest takeaway from this giant messy chart. So if you're new, it might look a little overwhelming, all these lines, all these notes. It's a diary. It's a reminder of what was said, when and how, and so that we can keep track of everything. Okay, what did we do? We managed to navigate some of these chops quite nicely together, frustrating and as slow as it was. And we had opportunities even where you had close calls on brilliant buy zones. And it's exactly that I'm referring to. I'm afraid that we might have a situation where if the market starts gaining momentum where it's at, you might get that same close call and a near miss on a really good buy zone. So let's then move over to this area. So the original buy zone, or the larger time frame buy zone, that crazy buy zone, if it really needs to sweep, is still a valid one, 81. But the conclusion of this whole story is I'm not going to sit around and wait for that. Okay, simple as that. We have demand. Demand got created in the sense of these demand zones, these blue boxes. And this is area where price recycles the momentum that generates, the gain in the market. So they'll manipulate price in a situation where the order book is quite thin, the market moves really quickly, and then stalls, and then there's that last hurrah. And it's typically this zone that gets flushed if there's a larger correction. Okay, and this is what I want to show you guys. You can see there, same story here. Any of these moves except this one now, it's typically that zone that gets flushed. Okay, that zone that gets flushed. So yes, panic if you want to panic, and if you're underwater, in a bad way from a leverage trader point of view, meaning you borrowed money, you bought something that's not yours, and if it goes against you for long enough, you're screwed. You're screwed. Your money's going to be taken. I would just keep this in the back of my head and just make sure to put some safeguards in so that if this happens, I don't end up walking away with nothing. That's the big thing. If you own on spot, for now, there's nothing to worry. For me personally, this is a really good area. Okay, so let's take this information now and clean up a chart, and let me show you some TA. Okay, just going to take away all these things. Okay, simple. Weekly time frame. Let's bring in our best friend, the RSI. Now, a little bit in the beginning of the stream, I said just be careful of becoming too complacent, and I just want to prove this to you guys. Okay, so if we look at this kind of structure where we're at now, and we start bringing in our RSI, okay, what we do have is this. Okay, out of all this momentum, there's the pivot. Okay, so if this was a 5-minute candle of Bitcoin or 5-minute chart of Bitcoin, where would I say you need to want to plan for a long-term buy? There. And that's that complacency scare that I just want to reinstall in you just after I said everything is okay. So this is the story of today's stream. I say it's okay, and then I want to scare you. I say it's okay, and then I want to scare you. But I'm sorry, that's the nature of this. You just need to get the message, in that regard, that things can go wrong quickly, and then there can be a really big potential meltdown. So just keep that in the back of your head. This is a real divergence. It's something to consider, okay? And if the market wants to pull back and run away with everybody's money, this would be a really good way to flush quick, easy newbies out of the market with new coins, just to let them abandon it, just to see it run away a little bit later. Okay, it's as simple as that. Okay, let's move on to point and figure. Point and figure supports the idea that if the market really wants to scare us today, 92 is still potential in the works. But for now, the market is poised to go more to the upside. So we've got gaps that are around 103 thereabout. So expect the market from where we are now to start slowly pushing up. CME gap wise, there's nothing really to report other than that giant leaping gap there at 79, which supports the idea that if the market really wants to hurt you, it's going to fall back into that range. Great gaps like that, if they get left behind, it's normally a signal of an insane bull run coming our way. Okay, now there is a little bit of news that I think that can impact the market, but I'll leave that for tomorrow, as we try and take things one day at a time. Okay, let's move on to this chart real quick. I saw a comment a little bit earlier somebody, I can't remember who, I don't remember where I saw it, but it stuck with me. That typical analysis where somebody looks at the January in 2017 and then January in 2020 and then this, and just saying it's just a simple retrace, man. And although those fractals are true to an extent, if you look at this chart that I've shown you, all the halvings and the similarities that's there, it's just, I'm just going to fall back on. I'm not trying to cover my ass, but there is room for that retrace to go much deeper still. So if you're buying today, make sure that you're buying spot. Okay, it's as simple as that. The dominance for us at this stage is a little bit of a fickle thing, because the hope was, in last week's message, I was extremely alt season now. And the frustrating thing that I have with this is that the dominance is definitely not moving in our favor at this stage. So what does this mean? Well, the alts probably needs to get punished a little bit more. We're going to move over to those alts now, and then we'll take it from there. So it's a frustrating thing that it's there. And the worst thing about this, where we're finding ourselves at the moment, is that, typically the way the market moves is the Dixie goes up, Bitcoin goes down. The Dixie goes down, Bitcoin goes up, and for the last, I don't know, Trump pump, the last rally, we've had a situation where everything just goes up in unison. And these kind of things don't make sense, So at some stage, one side has to concede the fight. And hopefully it will be on the dollar side, on the US side, when this Dixie finally starts breaking down and the market turns around and starts running. Now, that's what I'm betting, okay? This is my personal play, the thing that I think is going to happen most. And the fact that we're rejecting in an area that I've been waiting for forever to find this rejection is good. But if you examine this impulse that we've seen here, this is not the signs of an end, okay? This is only the beginning of an end, potentially, meaning we could still see this with divergence and then only see the turn. So just prepare for that, and that might bring Bitcoin down a little bit lower. So if that happens, you need to not lose sight of the big picture of things. Okay. Let's move on. I don't want to look at this. I don't want to look at that. I want to look at altcoins. Let's load the altcoins. Okay. So let's go to the comments real quick and see. We've got a request for Arweave. Vitali saying, finally catching up with the live. Nice to have you here. Hello, buddy. Hello, Renee, Stanku, Dave. Okay, let's see what else we got. Mr. George Strickland is here. XRP, bro. Okay, cool. Celestia. And then, yeah, thanks for the kind words, my friend. Okay, so let's quickly start off with this. I'm going to start with Ethereum. This is the setup that I shared with you guys a while ago, saying that this was the buy zone we had, and now price is on its way in test. Now, typically we'll test the demand zone by roughly pulling in 50% of the price action that's there. It's just a I don't know, maybe a happy coincidence that the market does these kind of things. So what you will find is in a lot of cases, once the market starts creating these panic sell-off days like we have today, it's a good opportunity for you to start buying the dip, but not on the day of the dip, buy the test of the dip. And today is specifically that. So today we're in a situation where I feel like we're in the test of the dip, hence the fact that I've got a test buy zone there. So we didn't make a higher high. Ethereum is not quite ready to go alt season ballistic just yet, but it's yet again another good area for accumulation. You can buy the test of the dip this time around with a clear invalidation, saying to yourself, okay, right, if we fall below 2,800 thereabout, I really need to reconsider whether I'm holding this indefinitely or I should use the next little pump to start laddering myself out of my Ethereum. As simple as that. I also said to you guys a while ago that from now on, I'm actually planning to start buying Ethereum. That hasn't changed. I still feel like this is going to be the first big mover that's going to ignite the alt season. Not meme season, not all the other seasons, the alt season, where basically everything goes ballistic for a short period of time. And if you're brave enough and foolish enough to buy a lot of coins, you can make a lot of money, if that's something you do like. Okay, so that is my call for Ethereum. Coins like Cardano, I said earlier, is probably going to be punished a little bit harder. We are breaking out of this triangle pattern. Remember, this was the sell zone. This was our original buy zone. from the buy from the long accumulation we had last year. So it is fair to assume that Cardano could even go as low as 62. Doesn't mean this thing is bearish, okay? We have basically gone through a long accumulation, bit of a rally, long accumulation, and to bounce on top of these wicks would be a fair assumption for Cardano, meaning it can go as low as this, even if the market wants to be bloody, and it would still be a good deal going forward. It would not feel good in the moment, but like I explained, bottoms will always look like there's more to be had, just like tops will always look like there's more to be had. Okay. And if we want to be proactive with these kind of things, this is the kind of environment you need to act in. Okay. Simple as that. For now, though, everything seems to be in order. We're trying to stay above 75 cents. So any buying of Cardano above 75 cents could still be considered a really good deal up until we lose it. Then shit's going to hit the fan and this dip's going to get real bloody real quick. Okay. We can have a look at Solana. Now, my last purchasing round of Solana was around 130, thereabout, somewhere in there. Okay. Somewhere in there. That was my last buy of Solana. And, we pushed an all-time high just to see the market come back down. And now the pivots and the TA around Solana is very simple. It's a bullish coin, and you're allowed to remain bullish, in my opinion, not financial advice, all the way. Let's just clean up all this mess, all the way back down to at least 206. Now, I said yesterday, not yesterday, last week. Sorry, guys, it's Monday. Last week, that 225 for me would be considered a good buy zone. And I'm going to hold to that for the following reason. Okay. If this is the move that created the higher high, and the bet is that we're going to go and do a 5-wave structure out of this. Now, remember, I'm no Elliott wave guru, but I understand waves within waves as part of my Wyckoff learnings. Okay. The argument is, however so high these might be, that this is the most probable area for the bounce between the 50, the 38 to the 618. Just call it what it is, the 50. And what you would want to see when you're in this area of the bounce is how the price reacts between this pivot here and that pivot there. Now, on the daily time frame, there's not much. Okay. You can clearly see we consolidated for a while. It's nearest makes no difference. But as soon as you start zooming in onto smaller time frames, you can see that the selling pressure is pushing price down. And this RSI is about to go and make a lower low, meaning fall below this range, although price is still higher. And that is that kind of strong bullish divergence, hidden bullish divergence that we kind of want to see. It's that continuation divergence. Now, will it print as picture perfect like that always? I doubt it, but it's something to worth note. So the support area is up to 200. And by that stage, if you gauge this, you would realistic or typically see that price would be around, say, if price is around 200, the RSI would be typically lower at that area. So it's kind of like a no-brainer considering these things, the scale of how price is moving. So it's a good buy for now, regardless of the panic out there. Okay, let's go through some of your requests real quick. Let's talk XRP. Now, like I said, I've never liked XRP, so I'm going to be biased on this, and I'm going to try and try and be as objective as I can without letting my own prejudice in there. So that's what I'm going to try and do. So scratch the first sentence. Looking at XRP, it's clear. What do we have? We've got a higher in price, clear bearish divergence. Okay. And you're allowed to remain bullish as long as price stays above that pivot. Now, that pivot on the daily time frame sitting around there. So where it's at now, okay, my thoughts on XRP is as follows. It's bullish. Okay. Dream big. Let's go moon. Okay. But if the market, and crypto is a fickle mistress. If crypto wants to turn bearish real quick, retail traders are going to look at this kind of trend line and they're going to panic and they're going to probably be scared shitless. And if they're in leverage positions, which a lot of the cases happen at these areas, nobody buys leverage here. They're too scared. The market's too volatile. It needs to almost taunt them into a point where they act. So if they're in long leverage positions, getting liquidated will force this thing all the way back down to these lower levels. Okay, so XRP at $2.70 is a great buy, considering you're doing a momentum play. Now, if the momentum fails, as I said, then it's going to go back. So it's up to you to define how you're going to move that. Now, what I will do is, if I'm in XRP at the moment, say you bought here in the buy zones that I shared with you guys, and you're sitting in a situation where you've got a lot of good gains and your gut is telling you hold for more, and your mind is saying, yeah, but maybe it's over, and do the following. Just don't act in full measures. Sell some, because the fact that we're selling off good coins, good alternatives like, say, Celestia, OP, or stuff like that. Full disclosure, I'm holding these coins. So it could go on sale and will probably be on sale, and they will be the next in the next run to do these kind of gains, where XRP typically now has done a lot of multipliers. So for this thing to 10x again, it's going to need some astronomical amount of money. So the profitability of being in this is almost over. The same for Cardano. I would rather look at the Cardano chain coins. Same for Solana. I would rather look at Solana chains coins in the pursuit that I know it's going to go higher, but those will probably need to play catch up. So they'll give me more multipliers. I want to make more money rather than just make money. Okay, so keep that in the back of your head with Solana. Let's do Sonic. Last week I had the wrong chart. I had a Sonic chart, but it's the wrong one. The reality is simple, and what was said is still applicable to this chart. Okay, because there's no TA, nothing for anybody to push off. You can call it bad timing for them to fork and change their name, whatever you want to do. This kind of just doesn't support any confidence in the coin. So this thing is going to sell off until it does this, exhausts itself, quiets down, sits there for a little bit, and then you buy. Okay, then you grab it from a technical analysis point of view. And remember, as the rule goes, as I always say, show me the charts, I'll tell you the news. Whatever is going to happen, that's going to be the good news event, will drive it out of wherever that level will be. The news is the lubrication. You first need to have everything else in place. You need the bed, you need all the other stuff before you can just use the lube. You know, it's as simple as that. So just prepare for something like that. So if you're in this coin and you may be holding it and you feel like you're underwater, understand that this is going to get punished for a longer time. Okay, purely just bad luck. Okay. Link. Let's have a look at Link real quick, because Link was the first mover in the alt run, you know, from Bitcoin sitting at 15,000, you know, all-time low. Okay. And since then, it's almost quieted down. Okay. So I'm going to just do this. Take away the RSI real quick. So it was there. We were looking at this, and then it had this insane run, momentum play that failed, accumulation out of the buy zone, and then another push. So Link is suffering from that same early mover success. So it goes big in the beginning, and now there's a lot of hopium sitting in this coin. And if they give up, they're going to get trapped. What's it going to do? It's going to come and try and fall onto where the previous area of support was. For Link, this is at $12. So this thing could hurt you plenty. Okay, another 45%, but still be bullish. So what do? Yet again, don't act in full measures, act in half measures. If you have some Link, sell some of it. If you're wrong and it does go make a higher high, the chance is extremely good that it's going to come and test this in the future. And then you can buy back on the confirmation. But if it now starts selling off, you have that buy the dip money. Maybe you don't buy Link. Maybe you buy Centrifuge or KMNO or ENA, you know, coins that you don't have yet. Okay. This kind of environment allows you that freedom to say, okay, maybe I need to reposition some of the holdings. Okay. Simple as that. Okay. Let's quickly see what else we have. Give my thoughts on Rune. And can I look at Say? Manu, nice to have you here, my friend. I enjoy having these live streams rather than having them pre-recorded and pushed out to you guys. Okay, so let's quickly have a look. Let's start. I'm going to maybe start with Say layer one. I had my eyes and have my eyes on this thing for forever. Okay. This is the accumulation buy, and the fact that we're back there is almost as a precursor of what could potentially happen with Link and all the other coins. Now, the fact that this one is here doesn't necessarily guarantee that the others are going to do that. But I like the fact that it's here. Okay, so what do I think now? Okay, last week I was on about saying that in the emotional market cycle of these coins, a lot of these coins are maturing. They're going through all the various phases, meaning if you go through them together, anxiety, denial, panic, and then it's like a capitulation. Everybody is getting out of it, and then it doesn't dump anymore for some real reason, and then anger settles in and depression. Okay, so I'm liking the fact that it is maybe guys, in an area where that is now taking effect. Okay, so we've had a nice alt market or alt season or a little bull market, mini bull market for this. It's falling back into that range just to quiet down. Everybody loses everybody's radar or disappears off the radar and then starts shooting up like crazy. Okay, now timing this would be hard because you can draw a trend line like this, and a lot of people will expect this in this way, to just take the trend line. So what I would say is typically it might just wick through that just to scare people, because the market doesn't want you to be right. Okay, it does the opposite of what you truly believe in. It's as simple as that. So there you have that, and I think this is going to be poised for another good run pretty soon. All this sideways accumulation is going to quiet down. It's probably going to run maybe, say, April this year. So now is a good time to just stock up at some of it. If you've got $1,000 lying on the side looking to buy this, why not put $250 in this one? Okay. Not financial advice, just the way that I would go about it. Okay. Let's quickly go through a few more of your coins. Let's see. Impatient Monk says, this is the channel now I'm getting notifications from. I keep on missing these streams. I'm sorry, my friend, but you seem to be here today. And luckily, even if you miss it live, you can always watch the recording. Recordings are normally easier because then they time-stamped. I tend to talk a lot, I know. Ido is asking for Tau. Let's quickly have a look at Ido's Tau. Where is Tau hiding from me? I miss the days when you just had like 30 coins to chart, and it was just those 30 and that's it. Okay, let's have a look at Tau. I'm going to go Tau Binance pairing. Let's just quickly have a look. Okay, so the last time we spoke about it, I was probably extremely bullish, and I'm going to remain bullish on Tau. Why? Because we do have this accumulation, and as far as a good deal, this is as cheap as it could potentially be. Meaning, from a risk-reward ratio point of view, okay, Tau could still probably chop all the way down to around $280. But the upside is double your money. And the rule is with any of these things is double your money, sell half, and walk away. Okay, let the rest ride for the bull cycle. Okay, which would hopefully come at some stage. Okay, and if it doesn't come, you've doubled your money, you've got free Tau in your wallet, and you've got your capital back, and so forth. So you need to take the risk once, and then once it's there, recycle the money immediately. We've done this successfully with a lot of coins, guys, and you need to remember that that is still the potential with something like this. Okay. Buddy indicator just gave a 1 hour buy on BTC. Yes, we can look at the buddy indicator as well a little bit later on. 1 hour time frame, though, is falling out of the scope of the video. I don't want to try and chase people into false sense of safety and from a leverage trader point of view. I've not taken any trades as of yet, still sitting on my hands. Everybody in the Discord, I think, is still waiting patiently. Let's see how many people. There's still a couple of people waiting there. I won't say that's a hell of a lot of people, but still there's a proper couple of OGs waiting there, and I'm going to be going live probably a little bit later today to still see if I can get that nice entry in. Okay. Now let's see what else we have here. Then Thai. Okay, so Tia. Let's have a look at Tia. Okay, so Celestia, and let's do this. Let's bring this up. Celestia, this was the buy zone that I shared, and then it went a little bit lower in the previous market. And I used the action zone to say, get yourself out. Okay, get yourself out, because if the market is going to turn, it's probably going to go down lower and make a lower low. The problem is that we have this imbalance sitting here. It's like a magnet drawing price. This was too much gains too quickly. So it's fair to assume that it could potentially get trapped between $2 and $5 for a pure duration of time. Should the market turn strictly extremely bullish, Bitcoin goes 150, $15, this has the potential to jump back to that action zone where you then need to sell, and for a probable double bottom test, or if it goes higher, a secondary test where you can buy back what you sold. The rule is simple. It's a new project. You buy, wait till it doubles your money, sell half, you wait for the rest of the bull cycle. It's as simple as that. Okay. Let's see, have a look at OP. OP, same thing for me. I was really happy with OP. I managed to get out with some OP. And I still have some bags, so I'm not trying to punt my bags onto you saying buy my losing coin. But at the end of the day, OP is as close to as cheap as a good deal could potentially be. Fall below this, however, I would turn my back on OP completely, meaning I won't necessarily abandon the coins that I have, but I will definitely not be buying any dips with this thing. Okay, a good example of one that went horribly wrong would be Luxus. Okay, so bought the momentum play, it failed. Bought the support test, it failed. Then bought the 618, saying, okay, right, this can't fail, and then it just kept on failing. Okay, then like I said, this thing just destroys me. By the continuation of the new breakout, and then it fails. So this thing just fucking fails, So those happen as well. And I had a comment somebody sent me earlier in the Discord as well. I joined the Discord. Hopefully, this is going to turn my bloodbath coins into into something better. And I wish I can have that magic little wand that can just sort things out. But I do get shit wrong, guys. Remember this. So you have to practice. That's why I spend so much time debating the various scenarios to try and empower you as much as I can as possibly, so that you end up making the best decision with the information you have at hand. It's ultimately the best I can do. Okay. Let's quickly move on. Let's see what else we have. So we spoke about Solana. Sui is a big deal. Okay. Now, I've been extremely bullish on Sui for forever. Okay. The journey with Sui, we got it quite early. We had a nice buy sell farming opportunity with Sui. So it did really well. Now Sui is at that situation again, just like Solana. It's in a buy zone. Okay. So for somebody that's late on Sui, so let me just move this max gain thing that I had drawn up here. 1,000%. It's a nice little put a zero behind your money. If we look at this, and I'm just going to take away the last little bit of the squibble that we have. Okay, this thing has to remain bullish as long as we stay above 375. So the question is, did it break it? No. Okay, Manu. So the way that I argue a break of a support level, or a breakthrough at resistance level, is the following. I consider the time frame in which I did the analysis, and potentially a one time frame higher. So if it's daily, I'll go to weekly. If it's 4 hour, I go to daily. Typically that kind of jump and scale. So if it's 15-minute, I'll go to a 1 hour, or in some cases a 4 hour time frame. And I keep my eye on those time frames, because think of this as an handshake. So if I'm negotiating with you, let's throw away all the other people out of the crypto market, and it's just me buying Sui from you, and we're negotiating. And I can go out and say crazy things like $2. And the way the chart will show that is by going to $2. Probably in a visual kind of way, and then you can say $5, and then the chart will show that as a $5. Okay, but when you lose a support level or an area, it is when it's not me and you bickering over price, but the sale actually takes place. So we shake hands. Okay, And wherever we decide to do that, that is what a closing price or a closing candle signifies. I hope that's the best way I can think of trying to explain that to you now when you say SUI broke 3.8. Okay, so looking at this, because there's still 6 days and 11 hours left for SUI on the weekly time frame, it's premature to say that it's breaking through on the weekly time frame. It's merely shaking people out. On the daily time frame, there's still a couple of hours left before we'll even start worrying about it, 10 hours. So this is yet again that typical scenario where, when it's daggling on support, don't expect it. It's always going to work when you look back at it, that it just tags a line that was drawn somewhere. But in the moment, in the day, in the now, this is just it trying to test it. The market's trying to find that, and everybody's throwing out numbers, trying to negotiate at this stage. So the best you can do is sit on the side and wait for the negotiation to take place. Then you'll have objective idea of what is happening, and then at that stage you can act accordingly. So will I sell at the moment? No. Could I eventually buy? Possibly buy at the moment? Yes. If you've got free cash, you sold maybe a high or you took profit on something else, this is a really good coin to just put some skin in the game if you don't have any. And then if it goes below that, you know where the worst case scenario is. It's gonna go to its next area of support, or the next time there was a lot of haggling around price, which would be around $2. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Gives you a good idea of how support and resistance works. Okay, let's see. Can you look at sand? We can definitely have a look at sand. Now, when we looked at, I think sand is, what do you call it? Ooh, metaverse. These kind of stuff were a hot topic in the previous bull cycle. And so you had a case where these things were extremely, if you look at these candles, extremely overvalued. So the punishment for anybody holding it was extreme. But here's the little trick that I picked up from TA over time. That area where price was lost, okay, that is exactly where the next bull top will probably be for sand, purely just from a liquidity point of view. Okay, so looking at where it's at 51, it's fair to assume that there's still another 500% to be made with sand. And what I have that can support that is the following: effort versus result. So I'm just going to zoom in here and just show you the effort versus the result. And you can see the amount of effort there versus result was not balanced. Therefore, there was a complete reversal. And now we're moving into a new era where, yes, if you're buying at 30 cents and it goes to 80, and that's a lot of chop to deal with. But on the bigger picture, the effort is currently being put in here. And there's an expectation that there will be a result of some sorts. So I would be really bullish in the current environment, saying that if you're betting Bitcoin's going to go higher from where it's at now, that this is still a really good area to buy. Now, fine-tuning this, trying to zoom in to get a better deal is, the human condition. We all like to do that. And that area is still sitting around 38. So nothing has changed for me regarding the last time I did the analysis. I did this in the HODL reports. So you'll typically find them. If you're new to me, if you go to the Discord under HODL report, so there they all get time stamped and I go through everything there. So there's a lot of coins, so you can go and check there to verify. Like not everybody's going to do that, but you get the gist of this. And that would be typically the area where I want to try and grab that. And it would be a really good deal considering where we're at. Okay. ARK had a nice run and made a new high. What do you think? Okay, Dion, let's have a look at that. So AARK. Let's see what we've got to work with. So this one is one of those low liquidity spike coins. So I would stay away from this off the get-go. Now, that's me now, given what we have at this stage. Okay. If you're in this at the moment and you're still in profit, I would sell. Why? Because typically big moves like this, when you have something that has these crazy wicks, it's got zero liquidity. Okay, so there's not a lot of trading on this thing. I think if we can probably research this thing up, we'll pick up trading volumes relatively low, or somebody has a large part of the supply locked up, that kind of thing. So these kind of moves will be fast, they won't last, and will come and consolidate back at around 2 cents. So lock in those gains, say thank you, because if it's going to establish a trend and it's going to be bullish, what it will do is at some stage, it will continue on and build some sideways range action where you can always then buy in back later. Yes, you hurt your bottom line on the multipliers, because if you can get it at 0.2 of a cent and it goes to 45, 55 cents, there's way more multipliers to be had if you're getting it at 1 cent. But it's just that risk to reward ratio balance, of how crazy do you need to go with your risk or not. Or do the following, guys. And this is the plant to seed strategy. It's very simple. If you were to trade on a daily basis like I do, so you're a day trader as well, so you're trying to hunt for trades, you potentially use the buddy indicator for those kind of things. It basically, if I were to switch it on this chart, I don't think it's going to throw up a lot for us, but the buddy indicator will look at the divergences and these kind of things and try and give you guys a buy and a sell idea. How much would you lose on a trade if you were to say, okay, well, there's the SO2, this is the area I go short, stop above there, it needs to go lower. Typical trade setup. The money that you will be willing to lose on a trade like that, take that and buy now. That's the kind of thought pattern with the plant to seed, because it's going to make millions and millions of percent if we're lucky and we do have a bull market. You don't need a lot of money, because at the top, it's going to suffer from the same problem that it's suffering now, low liquidity. So if you've got $1 million and you get to this area, I promise you, my friend, you won't be able to sell it regardless. Okay, you're going to sit there stuck with the coins. Okay, so I hope that kind of helps you sort you out there. Let's have a look at NGL. Okay, NGL. Every time I hear that term, it takes me back to my architect days, natural ground level on all the elevations. You always had to annotate that. This is the natural ground level. So NGL, let's quickly see. So this thing, again, you can see it's a lot like sand in the sense that it's going to do wonders at some stage. The problem, though, is it's busy going through accumulation. And how low will this thing go? Now, where it is in its maturity during this emotional market cycle, meaning if I were to do this, saying somewhere within this anger and depression situation, that's the hardest part with this, because we don't have alt season just yet. We don't have Ethereum pumping in the good gains and money in excess spilling over to other coins. This thing could take some time and be like a slow burner or a late little rocket ship near the end of the bull cycle. So yes, you can throw some small money in it, chuck it in there. I mean, what do you have to lose from that kind of plant to seed kind of point of view, knowing fair well that you've got a lot of multipliers going to the first area of resistance. It's already there. It's 1,000%. Just to get to that first area of resistance, not even there. But I just don't, I won't put $10,000 in here, not even if I had $1 million for that. Okay, let's quickly see KMNO Finance. KMNO is one of those early ones I brought to you guys. And let's quickly have a look at KMNO. This is a really good opportunity, in my opinion. I just want to load KMNO to hunt for the long. So this is the buy area, the continuation. Now, where it is in its emotional market cycle, it could fair well do this, chop around, come right back, and then only rally. I would almost want that, expect that from it. But it's in a really good area for buy. Anywhere between 6 and 10 cents would be a really good KMNO Finance buy, Glady. Okay. Now, what I didn't do is I didn't check any comments on Twitter page. I do this a lot. I am useless when it comes to social media, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. So I don't even know what is happening on my page for a lot of the time. So I do apologize. That's the reality. And I asked you guys a question and said, listen, if there's anything you guys want me to chart on the previous stream. So I'm just going to quickly go there. This is just a pin thing. Don't worry. I'm just going to, if there's any audio coming through, it is muted. So let's just see if there's any comments. No comments from, there's 3 comments from this morning's stream. That's not how you do this. You click on the thing and pause. Don't want the audio. and Lee disappeared. So that's all the comments here. So there's no request for anything on Twitter side. So my job here is done. Okay, so guys, stuff like this, just be mindful. Don't fall victim into the one thing that pumps. Days like this, if you're in that, you're extremely lucky. Enjoy the ride. It's because everything else sucks. Okay, so it's as simple as that. It's the best cracker out there by default because all the other factories are burning down. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, so enjoy the ride. Grab some if you want to. You can maybe scalp some money out of it. But I will wait for the whole market to just quiet down before I'll act, in that regard. Okay, about 450 people joining in live again, like this morning. I want to say thanks to each and every one of you guys for taking the time, spending it live with me, especially. I really do appreciate it. It takes a lot of effort from your side. If you want more, you know where to find me. I'm in the Discord. You can always use any one of the partner links that I have. Everything is kind of set up in the Discord so that it almost functions like a website. Try and make it as easy as I can possibly for you guys. So you can click on the buttons and navigate around. So if you want the buddy indicator, there's ways you can find it. You can go read up on what you need to do to qualify. You can go back to the options and so forth. So trying to make it as easy and as user-friendly as possible, especially if you're new to Discord. Discord can be overwhelming. So go in there and check that out. And there's a lot of people joining up, but then they don't verify themselves, which means that for you, the Discord does seem like it's just this dead, empty space. You need to get verified, and it's going to slowly start unlocking the levels. And I'm working on all and everything that is needed to make that a reality for you guys. So it's as easy as I can. Okay. Mr. DM Photographic, dankie vir jou, and Patient Monk. Cheers to you, my friend, JJ Doc. It's always a pleasure having you in here as well. If there's nothing else, I think I'm going to call it a stream and say to you guys, closing remarks is as follows. Okay. Treat this bugger as being bullish, okay? Believe in one direction and one direction only until the market starts proving us in a different way, okay? This is a bullish market, irrespective of the craze of the wicks. Okay. And when you're in days like today, it's a stay in spot kind of market. Buy the spot deals, buy the spot discounts that's out there. It will prove you well. You're only going to get it wrong once. Meaning, if you look at the previous bull market, okay, there was only ever one day that was a really bad day to buy. What's the odds that that day is today and that's going to be you? But we tend to look at it the other way. We always focus on the bottoms. And if you're trying to find the best day to buy the bottom, there was many good days to buy bottoms, but only one bad day to buy a top. Okay. So if you buy the tops, you would see that it would have proven you more successful on the long run than buying the bottoms. So the fact that we are here, see it as a blessing. And yeah. I'll be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we'll do another trade stream where we'll be looking at what happened with the 4-hour Bitcoin analysis I did this morning. So it's still, this chart has frozen for some reason. I don't know what happened with the Bitfinex feed. So it's a little tricky. If it does this, let's just see if I can refresh this trading view and hopefully it will come to life. You're worried about an exchange going offline. Wait until trading view. Wait until an exchange goes offline and you're in a leveraged position. You can see the market taking your money. Oh, that's the worst feeling out there. This doesn't want to work. I'm going to refresh and reboot, see what happens there. And I'll talk to you guys later. Cheers.